Every race, every game, every instructional series, every rewarding promotion, challenges, action, the best sports news. ESPN has it all. Why play hit or miss with your favorite events? For less than 42 cents an issue, you can guarantee yourself a seat at all your favorite games. That's $4.95 for 12 exciting months of Sports Guide. To subscribe, call 1-800-544-1000 or send your check to Sports Guide, Box 1840, Bristol, Connecticut, 06010. Act now. After all, timing is everything. And now is the time to order your ESPN Sports Guide.
Coming up on Speedweek, controversy over another leader's aggression.
After a week of noise, the quiet one wins.
And the School of Hard Knocks continues in stock.
This and more coming up on Speedweek.
Is brought to you by BF Goodwrench TA Radials, built for you to take on the road. And by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Speedweek. I'm Larry Newber.
And I'm Bob Jenkins. Preliminaries were held the weekend before. Last weekend, the city of Miami, Florida, hosted the IMSA Grand Prix, a series of races on a tight street course.
IMSA, from the ultrasonic speeds of Daytona to the delicate precision of street racing, and a different winner. In this very international city, one of America's most international events. Last Sunday, an Italian, Paolo Varilla, and Frenchman Bob Wallach drove American Bruce Levin's German Porsche to victory in the $325,000 American Lowenbrow Grand Prix. 29 took the green, a 3-hour IMSA GT race, skated on a treacherous 1.8-mile temporary course to Miami's Bicentennial Park. Many crashed in prelims. Wallach, Varilla, number 86, inherited first from the rapid pulsating Corvette of South African Cyril van der Merwe and American Doc Bundy, smoked a turbo early. About halfway, it looks like another win for Al Hobart. Co-driving with England's Derek Bell again, remember they won Daytona, they passed the Levin car for the lead. But traffic on the tight street course took the hammer out of Bell. Behind Wallach and Varilla, the Indy winner's Porsche. You couldn't drive for Preston Hen this weekend unless you had won there. Sullivan and Foyt swapped places with the Jag of Hurley Haywood and Brian Redmond. And another Porsche, the West German Hanstuck Austrian Joe Gartner car, number 5. Near the end, Danny Boy passed Stuck for second, while the Jag, meanwhile, stuck it in the wall but did manage to get fourth. At the end, France and Italy, driving together for the first time, brought the Yank his first victory of the year.
The GTO division raced before the GTP, and the race ended in controversy. It came down to a battle between Scott Pruitt and Willie T. Ribbs. On the last lap, with Scott leading, Willie T. rammed Scott, sending him into the concrete. That gives the lead and win to Jack Baldwin, his first in this division. Ribbs limped home fourth. Pruitt ended up 15th. This crash is very reminiscent of the Earnhardt Waltrip wreck at Richmond. Ribbs and Pruitt, who by the way switched rides over the winter, had battled nearly all race long. Then the move that denied former go-karter Pruitt his first GTO win. Ribbs was fined $2,000 for reckless driving.
Last year, 6 of the top 8 cars in the GTU Manufacturers Championship were foreign. One of those sounds foreign, Merkur. The Far East imports have really dominated this class. So don't you think that Detroit really stood up and cheered when Bob became the Duke of Earl last week? The missing at Daytona and newly redecorated Mr. Goodwrench car was good and plenty here, leading all the way. Roger Mandeville, normally of the higher-powered GTOs, was second. Earl was driving a Pontiac Fiero. Sounds foreign too, doesn't it?
The Mazda Inter-American Challenge was also on the Miami card. This was an invitational event for the top drivers in the Western Hemisphere. Bob Varsha reports.
For the second straight year, bragging rights to the title of Best Sports Car Driver in the Western Hemisphere went home to Argentina this Sunday as Juan Manuel Fangio III of Buenos Aires won the Mazda Inter-American Challenge over the streets of Miami, Florida. The race pit 16 of the best drivers in North and South America against one another in identically prepared Mazda RX-7 sports cars. Pole sitter Tom Sneva took the early lead in the 30-minute race with sports car star Willie T. Ribbs and Fangio second and third. As champion racers spun into each other and into the walls trying to move up, Fangio, nephew of five-time world driving champion Juan Manuel Fangio, passed Ribbs for second place and then ran down Sneva for the lead as the former Indy 500 champion wrestled for control of his car. From there, Fangio ran away to his second straight Mazda Inter-American Challenge win. Sneva held on for second, with sports car racer Jack Baldwin of Woodstock, Georgia, third. From Miami, Florida, this is Bob Varsha reporting.
Coming up at the end of 3, the score, GM 2, Ford 1.
While this hit is scored in the error category.
The end of the road is just the beginning when you take it on with these BF Goodwrench TA radios. The radio all-terrain, the mud-terrain, the sport truck TA. Last year, they took more major off-road races, more than any other tire. When you take on country where it's a long walk home, make sure you put on tires that can take it. BF Goodwrench TA radios, built for you to take on the road.
Hey, Pete, going to town with us? Nah, go ahead. Thought you had a little trouble. Oh, we can take care of it.
A day off is something real special, but so's a good neighbor.
Going into town with us, Pete?
Busch. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Busch. Head for Busch beer.
Head for the mountains.
Dodge Daytona Turbo Z. It'll be an expressway to your heart.
Now you can get up to $1,000 cash back on all new American-made Dodge cars. Thanks again, America.
Billy Margolis hated to paint. Then he found Easy Roller, the roller that feeds itself automatically. Now Billy paints a room in no time. No messy pans. He just fills the Easy Roller tank once in a while and keeps on rolling. Room after room. It's fast and it's easy.
Hey, Mitch. Mitch, do you have a room I could paint? Huh?
Easy Roller by Easy Painter. It might make painting fun.
Dale Earnhardt's fine for his incident at Richmond with Darrell Waltrip has been reduced from $5,000 to $3,000, and the one-year probation and $10,000 bond have been lifted. The action came in Charlotte at a meeting of NASCAR Stock Car Racing's commission Monday.
The Earnhardt-Waltrip incident at Richmond the previous week may have helped ticket sales for last weekend's Winston Cup race in Rockingham, North Carolina. Mark Allen has the story.
The record crowd expected a fender-banging affair, something along the lines of last week's Richmond Demolition Derby. Instead, what they saw was a lesson in how important handling is at any racetrack, especially the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Oh, there was an occasional tangle, like when 20 Rick Newsom, 2 Kirk Bryant, and 8 Bobby Hillen bent up their machines, but for the most part, the field kept to the business at hand. 5 Jeff Bodine and 3 Dale Earnhardt had the setups that put them at the head of the pack early, 44 Terry Labonte close behind. The crowd's biggest thrill came when 43 Richard Petty surged to the front for the first time this season. The Petty Legion was poised for yet another win, but by the midway point, King Richard's handling and brakes were suspect, and Labonte's car was clearly the best handling on the speedway. The second half of the race was nearly all Labonte, the only car capable of staying close, Bodine's. On the last pit stop, Labonte's crew got their driver back out first. Petty was fighting a total loss of brakes. In the final sprint, the script for another typical Rockingham photo finish was tossed out when Bodine's motor expired with 32 laps to go. That left 33 Harry Gant with the only shot of running down Labonte. But the Piedmont Olds was too strong to overtake, and Labonte had his first win of 86. Petty was third. Labonte's win was the first time since 1980 that an Oldsmobile has been driven into victory lane on the Winston Cup circuit. This is Mark Allen reporting.
After 3 events, Darrell has a 12-point lead on Terry in the point standings. Earnhardt is third. Daytona 500 winner Bodine is fourth, and Richmond winner Kyle Petty fifth. 6 through 10, Rusty Wallace, Lake Speed, Ron Bouchard, Bill Elliott, Bonnet and Hillen are tied for 10.
Despite the events of the last week, Dale Earnhardt remains one of the hottest drivers in all of racing. Dale competed in Saturday's Grand National Sportsman race and was his usual visible self. New Thomas Brothers driver Brett Bodine the pole, black and yellow, the color of row 2 of improving Larry Pearson and venerable L.D. Ottinger, but Ironman Jack Ingram has jumped off the diving board and into the lead first. David Boggs began an eventful journey with this lazy coast, then, wham, a frightful smack by Eddie Falk, first of several cautions which contributed toward 6 leaders. Pearson has been running up front with brand muffin regularity, never led today. After some speed, Mechanical Gremlins delivered this, in which he almost pulled a Houdini save. Larry does look ready, though, for his best year yet. 6 lead this carnival of thrills. Earnhardt's new colors headlight this pack. Competitive Brad Teague, he's in line for a win, it seems, inches to the lead this lap. Rick Mast is the trailer, stalks. The 3 of them, plus Ingram, Houston, Bodine, and Rodney Howard, all lead. But Dale, taking some of the sting out of a week of controversy, once again shows the sportsman a thing or two. He leads points, but Winston Cup commitments prevent him from seeking the championship.
There was also stock car racing in the Deep South last weekend. South Alabama Motor Speedway hosted the Rattlesnake 125, race 2 on the NASCAR All-American Challenge schedule. 1985 All-Pro champion Steve Grissom headed a full field of 27 cars to the green flag. His record qualifying speed of 90 miles an hour was nearly 2 miles an hour faster than anyone else. Many yellows in this race. Early leader Grissom was taken out of contention while trying to lap slower traffic. Then later, a couple of other All-Pro regulars, Daniel Keene in number 5 and Darrell Brown in 58, contested the lead. And this is how they handled the slower traffic. Larry Andrews, the driver of 02, was bitten but not injured. A pit stop by Keene for 4 fresh tires during one caution gave Brown the lead. And this time, as the two battled, the back marker in the wrong place at the wrong time is number 23, Tommy Ruff. Keene eventually uncoiled, passed Brown, and struck for the win.
NASCAR has confirmed the story that you heard for the first time on Speedweek last week. The Grand National Sportsman cars will compete at Road Atlanta July 6th. The Dale Earnhardt crew, headed by Kirk Shelmerdine, won $6,000 last weekend in the Unocal pit competition. The crew changed 4 tires and added 14 gallons of fuel from 2 dump cans in a record 27.601 seconds.
The American Speed Association, All-Pro, and the American Canadian Tour, formerly NASCAR North, will join forces in 1987 for a 6-race series called the Great American Challenge Series. The ASA's Rex Robbins says the format will be unique.
There'll be a 3-day event, but on Saturday I think the fans are going to be pleased when we run qualifying races. Just merely setting fast time and setting on the pole will not guarantee you the front starting spot in the race for Sunday. Also for Saturday, in addition to the qualifying races, we plan to run a 50-50 race. That's 50 laps or 50 miles, whichever is less, for $50,000. That'll all take place on Saturday prior to the big event on Sunday.
85 ASA champion Dick Trickle likes the idea of a combined series.
My first thought is short tracking goes big time. That's more or less what I'm getting out of it. It looks like a real good deal for the short track racers in the eastern part of the United States. Gives us a chance to get a lot of television coverage and more or less have a real true World Series.
Robbins calls it a viable alternative to NASCAR.
They don't have a series sponsor yet, but they're looking for one.
Upon our return, Steve is back in the Outlaw saddle. Sammy's out.
And the Broncos of off-road ride near the Mexican border.
Remember last year when I told you how great the season was going to be? Well, I was just going through some of the highlights in the sporting news. There was a big hit for Charlie Hustle, the young doctor taking care of the Mets, and someone very dear to me finally winning his 300th. You can take it from me, this year's going to be just as great. And nobody takes you out to the ball game and brings home all the excitement like the sporting news. You get all the major and minor league action, everything you've got to know and want to know from 40 feature writers around the country. This is your chance to get into the game and sign on with the sporting news. Call now and we'll take you from opening day right through the World Series wrap-up.
Call now 1-800-592-6000 for 36 issues of the Sporting News for 3 easy payments of $5.99. That's one-half the regular subscription price. Included at no extra cost will be 3 preview issues. Call now 1-800-592-6000. That's 1-800-592-6000.
The Sporting News, it's terrific.
Sunday, there's something for every sports fan on ESPN. First, the Southwest Conference's big guns are loaded, and you'll see the shootout. Find out who survives to capture the crown live. Then exclusive Davis Cup coverage. It's do or die when the United States meets Ecuador in the deciding first-round singles matches. Next, our NHL Game of the Week. Chicago's Blackhawks take on the St. Louis Blues in a battle between the Norris Division's 2 top teams. All Sunday on ESPN. ESPN, your source for television's most comprehensive college baseball coverage, swings into another great season. Our exclusive live Monday night showdowns feature the nation's top teams and showcase the major league stars of tomorrow. Join us on the road to Omaha and a 7th straight year at the exciting College World Series. You'll see why college baseball is becoming a favorite of fans everywhere. And nobody brings it home better than your total sports network, ESPN.
Some travel arrangements made through Eastern Airlines, the leader in service to all the Americas, serving over 140 cities in 23 countries and 1 magic kingdom. At Eastern, we earn our wings every day.
Brad Doty was declared the winner of the World of Outlaws sprint car race at Hanford, California last week. Sammy Swindell and his 7-11 sponsored sprinter took the checkered flag but was disqualified because his muffler fell off 12 laps from the finish. The Outlaws then moved to Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix, and Rick DeBrule has the outcome.
For the 2 main contenders, the day started out drastically different. Sammy Swindell had qualified safely for the main event the night before. His day was spent prepping and psyching. Steve Kinzer, on the other hand, had to work a little harder. An oil leak the night before had forced him out and into the qualifying races. But in shades of things to come, he picked up an easy victory. Now, the main event was not nearly as easy. For Manzanita, it was a rare day race. For Arizona and 90-degree temperatures, that means dust.
Oh, I would say the dust probably was worse for the fans than it was the drivers. It blows off the track right into the stands. You know, unless somebody would get really down in the infield or anything, it wasn't too bad a problem on us.
In the early going, it was pole sitter Jeff Swindell battling Bobby Davis in car number 6. Sammy Swindell finally claimed the lead on lap 11. At the time, Kinzer was nowhere in sight, but a late yellow bunched things up, and the next thing Sammy knew, Kinzer was hot on his trail. Finally, with just 2 laps to go, Kinzer stays low, gets by Swindell, and claims his first victory of the season.
Just getting up there to get in a position to win was pretty tough, but then when the flagman put the 5 laps to go and just knowing that you're going to have to get by Sammy Swindell in the last 5 laps, that's a job anytime.
For Kinzer, it was career outlaw victory number 151. In Phoenix, I'm Rick DeBrule reporting for Speedweek.
The winner of last week's indoor TQ race had the wildest odyssey, and we don't mean the 4-wheel kind, of any winner this year. Watch from the left of your screen. Tumbling on the bottom, Lenny Boyd. Bareback riding is Dave McKnight in yellow on top. As we watch again, no injuries, and can you believe, no serious damage. These 2 eventually slug it out for the feature win. Rather incredible. Boyd's day, far from over. Knocked out of his consi, started the feature from 15th. Noki Panoro, contender again, was walled, expressed his unhappiness, and he came back to 5th. Here's the instant that McKnight took the lead, but it's far from over. Just watch. Boyd has caught the front. The last lap, 4 will cross the finish line together. The car is stopped along the wall, and you can only tell the winner by the raised victory salute just before one last crash.
IndyCar testing continues in preparation for the opening race at Phoenix in April. Johnny Rutherford in a March clocked a 2:08 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway earlier this week. Mario Andretti and his Lola could only muster a 2:04. Andretti's new chief mechanic will be Bob Sproul, a former employee of Roger Penske and Tom Gloy. 2 cars, a March and an Eagle, have been entered in this year's Indianapolis 500 for Tom Sneva, who, by the way, is scheduled to drive a Formula Atlantic car in an SCCA meet in Phoenix later this month.
Well, they finally found a way to beat Steve Millen and Mickey Thompson's off-road, move off pavement and out of doors to dirt. The New Zealander had won the year's first 2 events, both races in domes. But last weekend, a different story. A surprise at that. The Indy, IMSA, and Rally drivers were expected to duke it out. But instead, off-road specialist Sherman Bausch thundered off from post position 1 and never looked back. Millen got snarled up on the last lap while his rallying brother, Rod, nailed second. Tom Halliburton tipped over briefly, and it's pretty obvious why. Too much right side weight, noticed the second driver. There is a three-wheel division, but not for VW-powered single-seaters, although after Jerry Welchell's success, maybe they ought to think about it. Nah, not really practical.
In our next segment, the Golden State Motocross Series concludes.
And the AMA Outdoor Motocross season begins. Stay with us.
Twisting roads, punishing trails, the open road. Each road demands a different tire to take it on. And with BF Goodrich TA radials, you've got all the different tires you need to take on those roads. The most complete line of high-performance radials in the world. The BF Goodrich TA line, built for you to take on the road.
Explore the vast commercial frontier of space. Watch Space Enterprise, a special Nation's Business Today series, Wednesday on ESPN.
In 1985, this is where Dodge Daytona won more races than anybody else. This is where Dodge Omni GLH cleaned up, and where Dodge Shelby Charger has done the same. And here, Dodge finished 1, 2, 3 in class. Winning is impressive, but what's more impressive is winning with cars that are essentially the same as the ones you'll find in Dodge showrooms. At Dodge, we're selling performance, and we've got the track record to prove it.
In a couple of days, a new company will be born here. Started by someone with the courage to believe in the American dream and the wisdom to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal.
Call 800-554-9000 for this special introductory offer. 13 weeks for just $29.50 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.50. Phone 800-554-9000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
ESPN makes sports headlines Friday. We're your source for exclusive Davis Cup coverage. It's the USA against Ecuador in a first-round thriller. Back on the home front, the big stories are in college basketball, and one of the biggest is the Big East Tournament. See the semifinals live from Madison Square Garden. Then after Sports Center, same-day coverage of the ACC quarterfinals. It's the nation's toughest conference, and you'll see why. ESPN covers the courts better than anyone Friday.
America's number one-state motocross series is over, the Golden State Motocross. This is Quail Canyon, where Suzuki's Jimmy Tarantino is finally rewarded for his perseverance. As he chasing early leader Ty Davis. Bob Moore with a moto win, and a second was runner-up overall. Tarantino has run 2 classes the entire series, but this his first score. Jeff Leask has been the only double winner. Finished the combined second to the name of this series, Larson. 54's Honda Michael. He swept both motos, so guess who was declared the meet winner? Michael's win made him the only double series winner in this highly competitive class. The other half of this brother act is the new 500 king of Golden State. In that first heat, Jim Ellis had the early lead before the dynamic duo of Michael, 73, and Phil, plate 1, move in. They exchanged the lead on the last lap of this moto, but Kawasaki's Philip goes out like a true champ, winning his 5th of 7 500cc's run.
The first AMA Outdoor National Motocross Championship of 1986 took place at Gatorback Park in Gainesville, Florida, and John Nugent has the results.
The action here at Gatorback was wild as always as the racers flew around the track at breakneck speeds. In the 125 class, Team Suzuki's George Holland of California, last year's Gatorback champion in this event, made it 2 in a row the hard way. Holland finished second in the first heat of the day to Team Yamaha's Keith Bowen, but rallied in the day's second heat to finish first. And
pretty important to do really good at every race because there's 12 races, so a lot of things can happen in 12 races, so I'm just going to take it 1 week at a time and try to do as best I can.
The 250 class became a a duel between two of the finest riders in the sport. Team Honda's Ricky Johnson and the defending 250 national champion Jeff Ward. In the 250 class, Ricky Johnson knocked off defending national champion Jeff Ward with first place finishes in both heats of the day. Ward would finish second overall, while Brock Glover placed third for Johnson. The racers now move on to Daytona Motor Speedway for the Supercross, which will take place on Saturday, March the 8th. In Gainesville, Florida, John Nugent reporting for Speedweek.
The AMA riders are in Daytona this week for their series of races at the Big Speedway. Last weekend, some dirt trackers went out to Volusia County Speedway for a spin around the half mile. That's sometimes sprint car driver Steve Moorhead sliding into first place with Ted Booty trailing. It continued this way until 4 laps from the finish when Booty went low in 3, may have given Steve a nudge and took the lead. Booty went on to win at a record-setting pace of 83 miles an hour on his Honda. Steve Hames and Dan Ingram raced for 3rd and 4th. They finished in that order. Booty and Moorhead have a few words about the pass in victory lane, but only words.
Now here's this week's trivia cycle question. Who was the first 2-time winner of the Daytona Superbike race? A, Steve McLaughlin, B, Wes Cooley, C, Freddie Spencer, D, Fred Merkel, or E, Mike Baldwin? I'll have the answer in a moment.
I'm Catherine Kinley. As anchorwoman for Radio 1990 on the USA Network, I show video clips of music's hottest performers, talk about the entertainment scene, and tell you what's hot and what's not. Well, what's hot today is stealing cable television, theft of service. It's so hot that people are being arrested and can spend time in prison and pay a hefty fine. Enjoying cable television is definitely in, but stealing it is out. Fight cable.
The AFS International Student Exchange. It's a lot more than just a trip abroad.
If you go with AFS, you'll find out more about people than about places.
AFS is a great opportunity to learn about another culture, but also more about yourself.
I can't even really calculate the impact that it's had on my life.
The family relationship is very special.
The AFS experience is a unique experience.
If you're a high school student who wants the challenge of your life, call us.
I won't miss this for the world.
On the street, you like looking good. But when you take on the road, you're talking performance. That's the new BF Goodrich Radio TA. Check it out. Put it on. Move on out. With more performance than ever. Black wall or raised white letters. The new speed-rated Radio TA from BF Goodrich. Built for you to take on the road.
Saturday, 3 conference championships go up for grabs on ESPN. The Big East, Western Athletic, and Big Sky title fights live Saturday.
Now here's the answer to this week's trivia question. Cooley was a 2-time winner, but not first. Freddie Spencer has won the last 5 Superbike races at Daytona. Merkel has been his teammate the last 3 years. And Mike Baldwin was Spencer's teammate in 1982. But A, Steve McLaughlin is the answer. He won the first Superbike event in 1976 and repeated in 1978.
The longest winning streak in the early part of the 1986 racing season ended last Sunday in Fort Frances, Ontario. We're, of course, talking about ice racing. Chris and Jerry Orr, number 35, were on the pole for this final event in the series. They've occupied that spot a few times this year, but always dropped out before the end. The Archers, Bobby and Tommy, had won all 5 events so far this year. Today, number 33, Tommy is teamed with brother John for the first time. Number 32, Bobby Archer's co-driver is brother Mike. Pit stops were important in this event. Bobby took over for Mike, and this team wound up second, but gained enough points to give Bobby the series championship. An unusually quick 10-second stop for the Orrs may have been the winning difference. The team who's known for their pink flamingos finally wins one.
Might be incongruous, but a welcome sight. When you see the flamingos thrust into the snow, you know you're close to the pits in the middle of a blizzard. Well, next week here on Speedweek, a complete wrap-up on the cycle racing at Daytona. I'm Larry Newber.
And I'm Bob Jenkins. We leave you this week with highlights from last weekend.
Speedweek has been brought to you by BF Goodwrench TA Radials, built for you to take on the road. And by Dodge, a performance revolution, an American revolution.
His first point of this half, 7 altogether. Dalrymple